Okay, so we were currently discussing uh, what's heading of what topic? Control flow, right? Control flow is a topic which we are discussing, which we started the other day. And in that, as I have said, there are like different types of ways which we can control the flow. What were those? So if you see here, mm, yeah. So if you see, we have conditional, we have iterative, we have transfer. So the other day we were seeing conditional. We have seen if, elif, else, and we have seen different combinations of this, and we have seen what are mandatory that needs to be used and what are not mandatory that cannot be used. Okay. For example, can someone say if this is possible? So let's say I want to just use. I will say if else then elif. Yeah, this is possible, right? Or is there any problem to use this?
Uh, Yeah, first we will use if, then elif, then else, right? In nested case.
Okay, so we can't use this. You're saying so we cannot say if else elif, right? Meghana, Sirisha, can you uh, answer?
I think we cannot use, sir.
Okay, why? Any guess? Yeah, that's correct. So we cannot use it, but any guess?
We don't use conditions mostly for else, so we can use it for if. Other, uh, if that's not the case, I mean, if that not satisfy the condition, then it will go to the elif. Here also we can use any expression as a condition. If that is also not satisfied, then it will go to the else block.
Right, Karthik. So else will be used at the last because if everything fails, then the only option is else. So that's the reason we don't see else having somewhere in the between. Okay, right. But this is possible, right? So we can have the nested thing. So in if we can have one more if and else, and in elif we can have one more if and else. Okay, and in this else you can have one more if and else. So that these combinations are possible. Okay, but if you see a one single pair, this order should not miss. So if elif else. Okay, in this if is mandatory, elif is not mandatory, else is also not mandatory. That means you can have simply if, and you can have only if and elif. Okay, you can have only if and else. Okay, so that's a combination. But if everything are there, then this should be the order. You cannot have any other order. Okay, fine. So I think we have discussed enough examples in our last class regarding the if and elif else. Okay, so if you have any doubts, you can ask here or you can put in the group. Okay, fine. So let's continue with the next iterative function. So that is a for loop. Okay, see, for loop. So see, I'm telling you, for loop is like one of the most important loop in Python because without for loop, okay, there are different loops. For example, there is a while loop. Okay, we don't use while loop that much. Okay, but without for loop, you cannot say a single Python code, any script. Okay, so that's how important for loop. And the beauty is it's very simple. No difficulty in understanding that, and it's very much used everywhere. Okay, now like see, as I said, like how we will write the function for loop. So we will say for I in, okay, some iterable, okay, some iterable, okay, then colon, then we will have, once we do this, once we go come inside this, we have this I now in our hands. Okay, now you can do anything. For simplicity, you can print I. Okay, okay, then you can or do some multiplications I, or you can do any sort of formatting, okay, with this I. But the point here is whenever you're having some iterable, you can use for loop to iterate through using a variable over here. Okay. So here there are two important points. One is this should be whatever you are using for loop on, that should be a iterable. That means you can iterate through each character or each item in that sequence. Okay. Second thing is you don't need to predefine this variable. Okay. In Python or in any other programming language, if you want to use a variable, right, you have to first define it. Without that, how the programming language will understand, how the interpreter or compiler will understand it. If you want to use a, you need to, if you want to print a, first of all you need to define a somewhere, right? Or if you want to some variable x, and if you want to do some formatting on x, first of all, what is x, you need to define that. Okay. But over here in Python, in for loop, you don't need to define this variable, so it's a temporary variable. Because why you don't need to define is, each time when you're iterating through this iterable, okay, it will, I will be considered as one item each, okay, in the sequence, in the indexing, like in the 0 1 2 3 index of this iterable each time. So first time the 0th index will be I, second time the first index will be I. So the I value will be keep on changing itself as long as it is iterating in the iterator. Okay. Yeah. So if you see, yeah, for example, now we're done with if else, right? So let me show you. Okay. See, for example, I'm taking, so x equal to what shall we take? So computer. I'm taking now for I in x, I'm saying print I. Okay. Now it's printing. So there are like 2-3 simple statements we need to understand here. So first thing is the x whatever you are giving over here, that should be iterable. Okay, that should be iterable. That means what? For example, if I say, if I give x equal to 1 2 3 4 5, okay, it's integer. Now if I say for I in x print I, see, you are getting an error. What it is saying, int object is not iterable. That means integer data type is not iterable. That means if you take each letter from integer, okay, 1 2, that is not having any importance. Only the combination 1 2 3 4 5 should be a value, that is a number which we want. It's not like 1 2 3 4 5. Okay, so integer data type is not iterable. What is iterable? Through which you can iterate, through which you can access each and every index, right? So that's how, that is what iterable. So for example, if I say x equal to 1 2 3, and if I say x of 0, see what we are saying, int object is not subscriptable. Okay, so if it is not iterable, that means what? You cannot take a character, you cannot have you cannot give indexing, you cannot perform indexing on that data type, on that variable. Okay, that means the whole, whatever variable you are defining, the whole is having value, but not each individual index. Are you getting my point? So when you're saying 1 2 3, 1 2 3 is an integer data type. So whole 1 2 3 should be x. You cannot say x of 0 equal to 1, x of 1 equal to 2. Okay, indexing is not supportive by integer data type. So okay, when you are not when you cannot index and on this particular data type, so that's called, it's not subscriptable, right? So when it's not subscriptable, okay, that means you cannot take indexing of that particular data type, right? So obviously you cannot iterate through it. Okay, because if you want to iterate, what you want to do, you want to take each one character at a time, one item at a time. That means what? First you should take index 0, next you should take index 1, next you should take index 2, right? Agree? So if that is not possible, obviously, as you can see here, it's saying you cannot do indexing. Okay, in other words, you cannot do indexing, means it's not subscriptable. That's the reason, obviously, when you cannot take index, you cannot iterate through it. So that's the reason it is saying integer is not iterable. Did you guys understand this? Are you guys following me?
Yes, Santosh.
Yes, sir.
Okay, fine. So that's a concept you need to understand, because you can, using for loop, you cannot use every data type. Most of the data types you can, okay, but you cannot use on all data types. Okay, initially when I was learning Python also, right, so I thought the same thing. So because I'm having, let's say, yeah, computer, right, so when I'm iterating, so why I cannot, I'm getting COM, because each time when it is iterating through this word, right, it's taking each one character or one letter at a time, okay, one item at a time, COM, that's fine. But when I'm using the same thing for an integer, let's say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So my expectation is it should print 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, obviously, right? But that was not going to happen. Okay. Then I understood that integer does not support indexing. Okay. That means it's not subscriptable. Okay. So when some data type is not subscriptable, you cannot perform indexing on that. Obviously, when you cannot perform indexing, it is not iterable. Okay, so for loop will work only for iterable. The main concept of looping is to loop through it. Loop means what? To go again and again. That means you should iterate x number of times, 10 number of times. Okay, but if it is not supporting indexing, it cannot do that. Okay, so that is first point you need to understand in the for loop. Okay, for I in x. Okay, x should be always iterable. Okay, second thing is this I, no need to define earlier. Okay, no need to define earlier. See, I'm not defining I anywhere, directly using I, still you will work. Okay, third thing is I can be anything. No, not only I can be anything. It's not no mandatory that you should always use I, right? So even if I use k, it will work, but you should use k, so it will work. Okay, no, it's no rule that every time you should use I, but it is recommended to use I, because right from the people who have invented Python, right, they started using I, and anyhow you can use any letter. So if you are using the same letter which everybody is using, then it is easy to understand, right? So when you're reading some script, so there will be no much confusion about that later. So when you're using for loop, right, mostly they will use I. So they will say for I in this iterable, for I in that iterable. Okay, but if you go by rules, then there is no rule that it should be always I. You can use anything, any word, anything you can use. Okay, as long as you are using it in a for loop. Okay, but it is recommended and it is more Pythonic to go by the standard thing, which is I. Okay, so these three things you should understand, and once if you understand these three simple rules, then I don't think a for loop should be have any difficulty. Okay, it is used on iterables. I is no need, you don't need to define it earlier, and I can be anything. Okay, now we'll see some examples of for loop. So the basic thing is, as you can understand, that it will iterate through it and it will perform the whatever condition you are doing. Okay, for example, if you do here k plus k, so obviously as you can see, it is adding each letter to itself. Okay, because it's a string addition. So can we do string multiplication? I don't remember. Can someone say, can I do k into 5 string multiplication? Does Python support string multiplication? Take a guess, guys.
Yes.
Sorry, can you please?
Yeah, I'm saying string multiplication. So now what is k? K is my character, right?
Okay.
So can I do
Yes.
into 5?
Yeah, we can.
You can? Okay. Yeah, works. Okay. So like that. So once you have k inside, right? So each time the k will be one character. So now you can play with that k. I can do anything. So I can say k into 3, or as I said, I can do k plus k plus k. Okay. Anything works. Okay. So that is the basic simple for loop. Okay. So now let's see few things. Okay, in general, statements are executed sequentially. Okay, the first statement in a function is executed first, followed by the second, and so on. There may be a situation where you need to execute a block of code several number of times. Okay, programming language provides various control statements. Okay, yeah, so because as it is mentioned over here, so if you have different blocks of code, okay, you have different blocks of code. Okay, it what does the interpreter follow? It follows like waterfall model. So it will start from the first line of code and it will start executing all the lines of code till the bottom. Okay, for example, if you want to iterate this particular part of code, okay, this particular part of code multiple times, Okay, 10 number of times you want to iterate. So that way the for loop will come into picture. So same code, if you want to use like 10 number of times with a single change, just a small I, whatever I we are using, only that will be changed, but everything will be same, and you want to iterate this number of times, you can happily do that using for loop. Okay, we are going to see examples. The for loop is used to iterate you over different sequences, right? So as I said, we have seen example of computer. What is computer? Computer is a string. Okay, so it is iterable. The other sequence or iterable are same. So other sequences are list, tuple, string. Okay, these are iterating over a sequence is called traversal. Okay, loops continue until we reach the last item in the sequence. Okay, see the loop continue till we reach the last item in the sequence. So if it is computer, it will print COMPUTER. Okay, till R it will print. And body of the loop is separated from the rest of the code using indentation. Okay, so how the for loop, how the interpreter will understand what is the for loop code by the indentation. As you can see, indentation is what, it's a space. So once you have the for loop, okay, and once you put the colon, so if you have space over here, so whatever it is having it in this indentation level, so it's considered the as a for loop. So once you come out of that, it is not belonging to the for loop. Okay, so we'll see different examples, so you will understand better way. Okay, for example, if you see here, so what is numbers? Numbers is some variable, and what is the, it is a list, as you can see by how we are creating it. It's a list. Now there is one more variable, sum. Okay, I'm using what? I'm using just a null string for x in numbers. Okay, for x in numbers, right? So then I'm using sum equal to sum plus x. So what is this? So it's, you should remember, like, you are iterating through what numbers. Okay, that means what, first time it will take India. Okay, whenever you iterator, simply understand that each time it is going to take one item from that. Okay, for x in numbers, what it will take first time India. So you got India. Okay, what is x? Yeah, x is India. Okay, and then what is sum? Sum is nothing. Okay, so it is always going to print. Okay, but now I want everybody to answer. So if I give here, okay, so if I print this, so what I'm going to get? See, I'm saying numbers equal to India, America, China. Okay, that's a iterator. So I'm iterating through that, and I'm just saying I'm creating one more variable. Okay, sum, that is rupee. So I'm iterating through for x in numbers. So I'm saying sum equal to, okay, okay. For example, simply initially let me take print x plus sum. Okay, I'll do that. Okay, let me comment this. So if I do that, so what it's going to print?
India rupee, America rupee, China rupee.
Sorry.
India rupee, America rupee, China rupee.
Okay, perfect. Okay, so as you have seen, so x is initially India, so then America, sum is rupee. Okay, then America rupee, China rupee. But from where this rupee is coming, so that is you are printing over here. So irrespective of this for loop, okay, this will always execute. Okay, print is because this print is not inside for loop, it is not following the indentation, so it's not here, it is here in the same level of for loop. So if it is in the same level of for loop, that means it is not inside for loop, so it will execute in every case. Okay, but as you can see, you are having x plus sum. So initially x is our iterator, and to that you are adding the rupee. Okay, so as we're seeing, you can like play with this x and print any number of combinations. Okay, but now if you see, we have seen if else elif. Okay, there is, we have seen that like one for loop, but now there is actually a for loop with else. Okay, a for loop can have an optional else block as well. Okay, the else part is executed if the items in the sequences used in the loop exhaust. Okay, break statement can be used to stop for a loop. In that case, else part is ignored. Okay, see here, here if you see, okay, usually people think else block is only with if else, but we also have else with for loop also. Okay, So, but the important point over here is else block is executed only if the items in the sequence used in the loop exhaust. Okay, so that means what? If you complete all the items in this particular list, okay, in the for loop, then the else block will get executed. Okay, so for example, as you can see, for okay, let me give it as I. Okay, for I in 0 1 2 3, if I equal to 3, you are breaking this. Okay, else you are printing this. And if you see the break also, so what does we next we are going to see break. Okay, but break, it will just bring the loop control out of that for loop. Okay, so whenever you are giving a break, so as of now you can understand, when the interpreter encounters break, it will just break the flow and it will bring that control out of that particular for loop. Okay, in that case the else part is ignored. Okay, it will not execute the else part. Okay, so for example, if you see, yeah, yeah, so let me first take this. Let's show a few examples.
I think that will skip only for only if condition, I guess, iteration.
Which one?
That break statement.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'll show it. Yeah, so if you see here, so I'm saying for I in 0 1 2 3, if I equal to 3, I'm saying break. Okay, so initial what will be I will be 0. Okay, no, 0 equal to 3, no, so it will keep on checking 0 1 2. When it comes 3, now 3 will be equal to 3 and it is going to break. Okay, so then what, once break is encountered, so it will, as I said, it will come out of this for loop. Okay, it will not execute the else block also, right? So the control will be over here. Okay, as you can see, the control will come over here. Okay, or yeah, even if you have 4. So see, Karthik, no, the break will, okay, will come out of the this for loop. So this for now, the what is our for loop? Our for loop combination is for else, right? So when you encounter break, it will come out of for loop. If it is having else, it will come out of that else and it will execute the next statement after else. See,
Okay. Yeah.
because
Then what is the difference between above 72 and 73? I'm got confused.
no, yeah, that's what I'm coming. See, I did not explain it. So see, the point here is you are having normal for loop, that's fine. Now you are having a for loop with else. Okay, there are two statements you should understand. First thing is, you need to first you understood how the for loop will work. Fine, how the if will work, that we understood. Okay, now we will see how for with else will work and how this break will make an impact. Okay, first let's understand when this else will be executed. Okay, for example, see, if I want this else should be executed, okay, I will use here. Yeah, so this example. So what I'm doing, if it is equal to 3, if I equal to 3, it will break. Correct. So I don't want to break. That's why what I'm saying, I'm not using any 3 over here. So I'm giving like 0 1 2 30. So that means what, every time it will come inside, it will, okay. So for I'll print off, you will understand. Okay, and see, whenever you are not understanding that, so simply print. Okay, you will understand it. So what I'm doing, every time I'm coming inside, I'm printing each of this value, and also I'm checking with 3. If it is 3 only, then it will break. If not, it will print every value. Okay, after that, if you see else statement, the for related else statement is going to execute if all the items in the sequence loop exhaust. Okay, after all the items got exhausted, right? So then this will print. Okay, for example, if you see, if I'm printing, see, for I,
Okay, got it.
okay, for I in 0 1 2 30, so each time it is printing 0 1 2 30, 0 1 2 30. Fine. So once this list is exhausted, okay, once this list is exhausted, okay, then it will come over here and it will print the else, whatever you are having in the else. Okay, so that is the function of for else block. After that, whatever you are writing here, it will print. Okay, this is not having this last two statements are simply whatever you write, this will print with irrespective of what is happening over here. This is going to print. I think we can understand that. Okay, now if you see here, see, but the main concept here is first it will print each and every value. It will iterate through this. Okay, in the for loop, in the same logic which we have just seen, it will do whatever operation you want to do here. You can print, or if you want to add, whatever you want to do, it will perform that. Okay, once this sequence is exhausted, that means all the items are completed, then it will perform the else block. Okay, the function of for else is that it is that way. Okay, but if you don't want this else block, right, if you don't want this else block to get executed, then you want to come out of this for loop using a break statement. Okay, so now if you see 0 1 2 30, I am printing every value of that. Okay, and I'm not breaking the control, because if, as you can see, it is not coming inside this. Okay, because if I write here, see, I will write I am breaking. Okay, so always print statements are very helpful. See, you cannot see it did not print anywhere I am breaking. That means it has never entered this, because if it enters this if block, it will break. If it breaks, it will print this. Okay, so you are having a for block, you are having a if block, you are having an else block, right? So now, as you can see, I'm printing this. It is printing, see, every time it is coming inside, it is printing I 0 1 2 30. It has printed, but it did not enter into this if block. That's why you are not seeing this I am breaking. But after that, it has entered this else block. Okay, that's why you are seeing no items left. Okay, no items left. After that, anyhow, it will print these two. Okay, so the point over here is else block related to for block is going to get executed when all the items that are written in the for block or the iterable of the for block are exhausted. Then it will going to execute the else block. But if you don't want this else block to get executed, then if you see here, okay, now in the same, okay, let me the same example. So if I use here 3, okay, if I use here 3, now see 0 printed first time, second time 1 printed, 2 printed, next third time 3 also printed. First it is printing, after that it is coming here and checking. Okay, 3 equal to 3, yes, true, it will enter the if block. Then it is printing I am breaking. Okay, as you can see, I am breaking is printed, and it has break this flow. Then what it will do, once it is breaking this flow, it will come out of the this complete if and else block. It will skip and it will come after whatever you are having the else, right? It will not enter the else block, because the moment when it sees break, it will not enter the else block. It will just come out of the else block, and whatever it is printing outside, that is going to continue anyhow. Guys, is this clear, or if there is any confusion, please let me know.
Yeah, clear, Santosh. Santosh, can you please add 3 in front of 0, 3 comma 0,
Here,
and execute once.
here
3 comma 0, yeah. Yeah, can you please execute now?
same
Yeah,
thing,
got
right?
it.
It will break in the
Yes.
initial only.
Yes,
The
yes.
first step only it will break. If I write in the last, it will execute all 0 1 2 3, because we are breaking only at 3, so no problem with other
Yes.
numbers. It will execute. After then it will break. After that, it will execute these two lines. But if you put 3 at the first step only, it will break, because 3 we are checking with 3. First only we are getting 3, so it will break over here itself. So it will directly, if I print, see, it is coming printing 3, and then it is breaking. So obviously this will not get executed. Then obviously these two will print.
Sure, Santosh. Whenever it breaks, it automatically comes to out of the else block. I mean, for else block.
Out of that for related else block. So this for and else
Yeah,
are
for related else block.
if you're writing only for, if you're not writing else, it will come out of that for block. Okay, But if you're writing both for and else, if you're using combination of for and else, and when a break will come out of that else. Okay. So if you're writing only for, whatever logic you are having, so you are seeing a break. Okay. It will come wherever if it is seeing a break, it will just come out of that for block, complete for whatever you are writing, whatever you are writing out, it will not execute. The moment you see break, it will come out of that. And wherever the for is ending, after that, whatever you are having print statements, it will execute that. Okay. But if you're having for and else, it will skip else also. Basically, it will print what if you're having for else, if you're having break over here, so it will skip else also and it will come after else. Yes, Risha, can you speak up? You're saying what for else block? Why it is not showing indentation? But where is indentation error?
Okay. Sirisha, like else is along with for. I mean, it's not inside for. She's asking like
Okay,
we
this
have
one,
else.
if else.
Yeah. She's thinking like it should be also like if. That's what she's asking, I guess. Right, Shirisha?
But even in if else scenario also, Sirisha, if you see else is at the same indentation of if, right? Here also else is at the same indentation of for. Because when you're saying if else, so if else will be at the same indentation, that means same level. Whatever you want to write in the if, right? Whatever if you want to write in the else, right? Similarly, for else also, for else. Whatever you want to write over here, you are writing all this. Whatever you want to write in the else, you are writing all this. Okay, fine. So, guys, let me know if this is clear, or just ask me if you have any questions, because you should understand for loop really good. Mm-hmm. Okay, so then I will answer. We understood like break. See, I'm telling for with else we rarely use it actually. If else is commonly used, but I have not seen using for with else. Most of the times we don't use for with else, but it is better to know while learning. Okay, but for the only simple for loop we will use it like extensively. Okay, but now we will see different examples of for loop. Okay, for example, let's say I'm saying some x equal to input enter some string. Okay, now after that I'm saying some a equal to 0. Okay, a equal to 0, and for I in x print. Okay, print. Okay, if I print I, what I'm going to get? Okay, for example, if I say so, if I'm giving America, so for I in x print I, so what I'm going to get?
Yeah, from A to A, right? Will it right?
Yes, are you understanding, or for loop did everybody understand?
So,
No, because if you don't understand, like if we give America and if I print like for I in x print I, if you cannot say like what we are going to print, then obviously you would not understand for loop, right? So when I was asking like few minutes back, so is if the concept is clear, you're not speaking up, so obviously I will think that you guys are understanding, right? But then when I'm asking some question, if you don't respond, so obviously you're not understanding that. So what? Right? So fine. So if you're having, if you're not understanding, right? So I was saying, so feel free to get the concept clear, guys. But
Understood, sir.
understood? Okay. So when I'm printing this, we are getting America. Okay. So now, but if I want to get the index of each and every character, okay, right? So what I'm going to get? So if I say I'll create a character called index, okay. So I'm saying the character at what at ind is index is, I'll say I. Then I'll say ind equal to ind plus 1, or simply I can do ind equal to, yeah, ind plus 1, correct. Okay, now if I say America, see what I'm saying I'm giving America, okay, but I want to print what is the index at each character. So index will start with 0, so that's why I've created a variable called as 0. So I'm saying the character at 0 is a, right? The character at 0 is a. So here what I'm doing, I'm simply playing with two things. One is the index and one is the actual I. From I, from where I'm getting I from for loop, because it will iterate through each and every word. So America, so initially it will be a m e r, so that we have understood. I want to get index. Okay. From where am I going to get index? Obviously, index will start at 0. So that's why I created something called 0. So initially it will be 0. I'm just adding that 1 each time. Okay. So next time index will be 1, 2, 3. Okay. So, but here you need to understand, I have initialized index equal to 0 outside. Okay. That means initially, first time when I give I int equal to 0, then int will be 0. After that, the int is getting increased each time. So initially int will be 0. Next time int will be, what is this? Int equal to int plus 1. That means what? Now int equal to int plus 1. Now int is 0. 0 plus 1. Int is 1. Okay. Now that is equal to 1. Again, what is in int equal to int plus 1? Okay. 1 plus 1. It will be 2. Okay. So that means it will never go out of this for loop. That means what? It will never become 0 again. Okay. Because the initialization is happening outside the for loop and increment is happening inside the for loop. So every as long as it will stay inside the for loop, each time it iterate, it will, this int value will keep on increasing. So it will be 0, 1, 2, 3. So that I am using for the index, because obviously index is 1 at a time. So it's 0, 1, 2, 3. So using these two simple concepts, you can print why you are iterating through the string, you are getting America. Okay. And parallelly, you are iterating through the, you're creating a variable called as 0, and you are adding 1 each at a time, and that's how you are getting the index also. Okay. And you can just put it in a string format, the character. See, as we have seen the character at, okay, this is as per our requirement, so we want the user to understand it. So that's why I'm writing the character at, see, it will print the character at, in the place of ind, first time it is printing 0. Okay. And index is, it will print as such, and at the place of I, it is taking from the iterable. What is iterable? America. The first point letter in America is A. Okay. So that next time the I is getting increased over here. So that's why you're seeing 1, and next iterable is M. Okay. 2 E. So that's how you can print the index. Okay. So did you guys understand this example?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Fine. So now as we can see, the same for loop we have seen for I in. Okay. You can use with the range also, right? So the other day, okay. So what we're saying, so when I'm saying print range, yeah, can someone say what I'll get? Print range of 5.
0 to 4.
Okay.
0,5.
Okay. Correct. 0, 5.
Ah,
Because Karthik, because we are not looping. Okay, the range
Okay.
function is 5, but as I said, you will able to see the result only when you loop through it. Okay, so
Yes,
now
yes.
when I say for I in range of 5, now print I, then you are going to get 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so and with this with this simple example, right? For example, let's say I'm giving a sequence. Okay, a 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, and I will say for I in, okay, for loop is actually very interesting, right? So when you practice for loop, right, so it will give you a very good control over the Python. Okay, because any you take any sequence and you just play with that, you iterate through it, you add something, subtract something, and print something. For loop is actually very, very interesting when you're studying Python. Okay, so see, for I in X, I'm saying, so the simple concept is each time it will take one value. Okay, now if I say if the point is, okay, so here print, I'm just printing task is to print even numbers. Okay, for for I in X, if X, what was the reminder part? Percentage
X modulus 2
equal to 0, right? Print
even.
I comma is an even number. True. Is my code correct? Can I execute or any issues? Right. What's the problem? Oh, okay. Oh, what's the mistake I've done here?
I modulus 2 equal to 0. We have to take I.
I have to take what?
I
I
instead
percentile
of
2.
X.
Correct. Okay, so as you can see now here 0 is an even number, so we are doing this. Now if I just want to print, task is to print odd numbers, so what should be this? So this will be not equal to 0. So as you can see 1 3 5 7 9 is an even number. So okay, with simple concept you can whatever be the length of these numbers, right, from the given set of numbers sequence you can just extract all the even numbers. And here as I said, see, so you can extend this. Okay, try to combine different concepts and extend this. Okay, for example, here I'm creating a new variable called as even numbers. Okay, that is a list. Okay, and then odd number. Okay, that is a list. Okay, now whenever I'm putting it as 0, it will come inside, it will print, and to this even number I can add it. How I'm adding? So we did not study that, but I'm just showing you. We can append to this list the value, what value I'm adding, I. Okay, here just use else. Okay, and come here. Okay, print I is a odd number. Okay, after that, so now the I will be odd number. So here you can write for the odd number variable you have created, right? You can append I. Okay, now if you see it is printing everything, that is fine. But if I check my even number, you are having 0 2 4 8 6. Now if I check my odd number, you are having 1 3 5 7 9. Okay, simply you have segregated them and you have put them into two different lists. Okay, and this list you can, this list of numbers you can pass to some other function, and this list you can pass to some other function. Okay, so this is how you can extend and add multiple concepts of for loop, I would say. Okay, and with for loop, right, so there are like different ways you can execute. For example, okay, if I take some list equal to a list, always let's take tuple equal to some number. Okay, and then what you can do actually is yeah, for I in tuple you can print. Okay, so you are getting the square of the each and every number, so it's the iterable. Now, will it work for set? Yes, it's working. Okay, so fine. So after for loop, right? So we have something, okay, we have something called as what? Nested loop. Okay, what is nested loop? It will say it's just a combination of two for loops. Okay, so what's the concept? So you are having nested for loop. So in nested for loop, okay, in nested for loop, so you will have a iterable for I in some value. Okay, inside that you can have one more for I in iterable. Okay, then you can use, okay, here you can say for I in, here you will say for j in, for example, and you can play with this I and j over here. Okay, see, for example, we'll say simple example. See, for I in range of 5, okay, now for j in some range of 5, okay, now see this I and j are, as I said, this can be anything you can give, but both should be different, obviously. And it is also again recommended to use I and j usually. Okay, if you are not doing any specific coding, right? So when you're just working with examples, use I and j so that the other person will understand that this is a for loop. Okay, now you can just print the value of I is the value of j is, okay. So, and also if I just want to print some beautifications, you see the first time, okay, the first time when it is coming over here, the I is range of 5. See, the I is range of 5, that means 0 1 2 3 4. This j is 0 1 2 3 4. So it is taking, first time it will take this 0, okay, it will take this 0 and see whatever it has printed. Yeah, so see, I want you to observe this value. Okay, so no, what I will do is I and j is, I'll write this way, it will be simple to understand. See, first it will do, see, actually what it will do means it will, let's say for I in some iterable one, okay, next for j in iterable 2. See guys, focus here. When you're printing something, what happens, you know, don't think that it will take first value of this and first value of this, second value of this, second value of this. No, what happens is it will take first value from this iterable. Okay, now let's say this is iterable of 1 2 3, a list. Okay, and iterable 2 is a one more list of 4 5 6. Okay, what happens here is it will take, first time it is taking, it is seeing this for loop, so obviously to take first element, it has took 1. With 1 it will enter inside. Okay, once it has entered inside, it is seeing one more for loop. Okay, then what happens is it will execute, first it will come inside this. Okay, it will take 4. 4 is done. Once 4 is done, what is the purpose of for loop? To iterate till all its sequences are exhausted, right? If you are having a simple for I in some list of 1 2 3, see guys, observe carefully, 1 2 3, and if I say print I, okay, if I say print I, what it is doing, it is taking 1 printing, 2 printing, 3 printing, right? That means it is completing whatever is written inside this for loop, it is completing the function, okay, for each and every item in this sequence. Agree? Similarly, in this for loop also, whatever that is present inside this first for loop, that should be executed for each and every item. Okay, here you are writing print, here you are writing one more for loop, that is different, that is same. Okay, to the for loop it's same. Whatever you write inside this for loop, it should execute. That's its functionality. Whether you are writing print, whether you are writing one more if, whether you are writing one more if else, it does not matter. Whatever it is inside that for loop, it should execute. But when you're writing a simple print, it will just print it and leave it. That's very simple. But now when you're having one more for loop, okay, now for each value of this one, it will come inside. It is having for loop, but now this for loop is also the same this for loop will also have the same functionality of this for loop, right? That means what? Its job is to execute whatever it is written inside this for all its items. Okay, just like how this for loop will think, okay, I have to iterate whatever inside me. Okay, whatever is written inside me for each and every value of this iterable, this for loop will also think same way. I should do whatever is written inside me for each and every value of my iterable. So now what happens means, first it will take one, come inside, one more for loop, it will take 4. Okay, it will print. Okay, then it will again go back to this for loop, it will take 5, it will print. Again it will take 6, it will print, because first it should complete this for loop, this looping inside this, because this is one more for loop. So obviously it will think this for loop iteration should be completed. Okay, so it will complete this. Now once it has completed, okay, that means what? The job of this second for loop has completed. Okay, for every item in its iterable, in its sequence. Okay, so that's the job of this for loop, which it has done. Once that is done, then the control will go back to this for loop. Okay, then it will come and take the next item. Okay, see guys, I'm not sure like if it is very clear. See, see, nested for loops are not that difficult to understand, but you just need some focus. Okay, see, I am saying print. Okay, now you need to simply understand here. So I am also printing. Let's say I am printing I comma j. Now let's try to clearly focus what's the values we are going to get. For I in 1, 2, 3, that means what? The moment for loop sees an iterator, its job is to iterate whatever is written inside it for every item in its sequence. Okay. Now first it will take 1. Okay. The moment when it's enter here, I equal to 1. Okay. We'll understand step by step. That's fine. With 1, I equal to 1. What is its job? To execute all the functions inside this indentation. Okay, these two are coming into this for loop, right? So it will execute all this. That's fine. But now once it has entered here, it has seen one more for loop. The interpreter will think, okay, there is one more for loop. Okay, then now what is this for loop is saying? It is saying I should iterate through 5 and 6. That's fine. Okay, now it will take first item 5. The moment it will enter here, now what is j equal to 5. Okay, but I equal to still 1. Okay, that's not going to change, because from this for loop we have took the I equal to 1, that is storing, that is all, that is saved. Once you come inside, you are having one more variable j equal to 5. Okay, but here I equal to still 1. Don't get confused. Okay, with this j equal to 5, it will enter here. It is printing I and j. I is what? 1, j is 5. Okay, that's fine. So once this job is done, this whatever is done, this is under which for loop? This for loop. So once this job is done, that means once it has printed for 5, obviously the control will go back to this for loop, because the concept is to finish complete iterations for all the items. Okay, so once it is done for 5, it will take 6, it will come inside, it will print 6. Now when it is coming inside, now j equal to 6, but I equal to still 1. This is important because the control did not go back to first loop yet. Okay, it did not go back to it. here it did not go. As long as it is not, it is completing the it did not complete the whole this sequence of items and doing this functionality with the same I, okay, it will not go back. Okay, first the inner loop will get completed, any number, as long as this sequence is exhausted, it will perform the looping. After that, it will come back, it will take one more element, then it will complete the loop, it will take one more element, it will complete. So first time when it is coming, it is 5, 1 and 5. Second time it is coming, it will take 6 with the same I is still same. Now I will be 1, 6. Okay, now it will go back, and it will go to the next item. Okay, next it will switch to 2. Okay, now it will take 2. Again the same story repeats with the 2. Now it will again print 5. Okay, now again 2, 6. Now it will now this loop is exhausted because it has printed both 5 and 6. So obviously it should go back to next loop. It will take 3, come inside 3, again first loop, first number in the second. Okay, and again 3, 6. Okay, so for each, and so now put it in simple words, for each and every element in the first for loop, all the elements of the second for loop and this functionality will be executed. After that, it will go for the next element in the first for loop, and it will again run the for loop for all its elements. Okay, again it will go to the next element in the first for loop, and for this item also it will execute this for loop for all its items mentioned in its sequence. Okay, so first for loop, second for loop. Okay, first for loop, second for loop. You should simply understand, for each item over here, this complete for loop will get executed. Okay, for each item in the first for loop, complete sequence of this second for loop get executed. Okay, so is the theory good, right? Good, guys? Did you are you able to understand, or is there any confusion? Be honest.
Understood, sir.
Understood, everyone?
Yeah. Clear, Santosh.
Everybody, okay? Yeah, so now that's why if you see here, you are having range of I5. So that means what? This is, okay, for example, Y5. So for example, I will give here 3. You'll understand better. Okay, now as you can see, this is here also. Let me give 2 for simplicity. Okay, I'll take 3 just to understand. You can give any value just for an example I'm showing so that you'll understand. See, here it is 3. If it is 3, what are the values it should iterate? Just this for loop. Forget about everything. Only this for loop. It is actually 0, 1, 2. Okay, because range 3. And this is 0, 1. Okay. So now in the first for loop, you are having 0, 1, 2. Okay. In the second for loop, you are having 0, 1. What I said, for each item in the first for loop, the whole second for loop will execute. That means the whole sequence, all the items should be executed. That means what? It should be simply 0, 0, 0, 1 again. Okay, next what? 1, 0, 1, 1. Agree? Next what? 2, 0, 2, 1. Agree? See here, first 0, 0, 0, 1. Okay, 0, 0, 0, 1. Okay, for each item in first for loop, whole second for loop will execute. Again, for each next item, 1. That means 1, 0, 1, 1. Okay, 1, 0, 1, 1. Okay, next it will go to second last next item in the first for loop with 2. Again the whole sequence 2, 0, 2, 1. Okay, 2, 0, 2, 1. Okay, is the example clear, guys? Everybody?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes,
Okay, fine. So I would say that is a basic nested for loop, how you can execute. So tomorrow we are going to see few more examples of for loop and nested for loop. Okay, then we will go for while loop, and tomorrow we'll also try to conclude this break and continue also, so that the flow control thing should be good with us. Okay, so Let me know if there are any doubts, or just let me, yeah.